Hello, I'm here. Okay, so you might notice I changed things up a little bit. I'll talk about that in a second. Right, so today's Friday, and we have a nice feature for today. Yesterday was Tornky Day. We had a nice Tornky Day. Wasn't able to visit family, but family managed to cook a bunch of things for us, and they sort of brought all the food over. It was really good. So that was nice. And today is Black Friday. I can't think of anybody who's going to be out shopping today. I think most people are going to do like Cyber Monday stuff. But I imagine there are a couple of people out there shopping, screwing things over for all the rest of us. But, anyways, so as I said, you might notice that some things are new. I've changed up my appearance. There's a couple reasons for this. One, it's around 1 month since I started doing streaming stuff, and I've had a good time with it. And the old avatar that I was using, it was kind of childish. I didn't really identify with it that much. Looked like at least 10 years younger than I want to look. So I changed it up, got a new look. I think it has a little bit more personality and is a little more mature. And I have a hat. See my little beret? Oop, oop, oop. I think it's cute. Okay, so this past month I've really enjoyed doing streaming stuff. It's sort of motivated me to play some games that were sort of hard to get myself to play. Things that I was kind of interested in, like I think must have been 1 or 2 weeks in, I did Caper and the Castro. I never would have played that myself, and it was like a really interesting bit of queer history to get through. So that was pretty cool. And over the course of this month, I've become a little more comfortable with my voice. See, I kind of want to do vocal training, get it a little bit better, but it's a little bit hard to do when I'm not really out to my roommates. And I don't have many friends, to be honest, especially offline. I have some good online friends, but not a ton. So I don't really talk that much with people. I do a little bit, but not much. So it's kind of been nice doing this and sort of exercising my voice more than I usually do. And I kind of want to improve it over time. So you might notice it change as I continue streaming, just a little bit at a time. So if you're curious as to why it is, that'll be why. And I'm looking forward to what the future will bring while trying to continue being disciplined about getting streams out. I know that in the past week I was a little bit sick, so I missed a few of my scheduled days, but I'm feeling fine now, so I hope to continue being consistent, putting these streams out there, and having a fun time playing games with you all. Now, for today, we're going to be playing a Mortician's Tale. It's a little bit on the short side, but it will contain depictions of death, not like super video gamey stuff with like bits flying everywhere and people getting chonked. is more like realistic portrayals of people who are dead, and you're playing as a mortician, so you're going to be seeing these corpses. So just a little content warning for you guys. This is going to deal a lot with death. Okay, so I'm going to set that up really quick. And here we go. A Mortician's Tale. September 14th, 10:15 a.m. Okay. I think I'm going to narrate these emails to you guys. At least as much as I can. Regarding, hello and welcome to our new funeral director. From Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie. And this was on September 14th at 9:22 a.m. Welcome, Charlie. Nice to meet ya. My name's Matthew, and I'm mainly going to be the man who delivers the bodies to ya and helps with some of the more heavy lifting. Ever hear that joke about a hearse driver? I'll tell it to you when I come by in a bit. Looking forward to working together. I hope you'll enjoy working here. Amy is a sweetheart, but she runs a tight ship. Nothing you can't handle, I'm sure. She wouldn't have hired you otherwise. Cheers and good luck. Matthew J., Funeral Director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Hello and welcome to our new funeral director. From Amy Rose to Rose and Daughters staff. On September 14th, 9:03 a.m. Hello everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our new funeral director, Charlotte, or Charlie as she told me she likes to be referred to. Charlie is a recent graduate who came highly recommended and is eager to begin her career here with us at Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Please take the time to make Charlie feel at home within our little family. We'll have a nice catered lunch this afternoon so we can all get to know each other a little better as well. Sincerely, Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Also Sonic's wife. So that's this. Next we've got some instructions from Amy Rose to Charlie on September 14th, 9:27 a.m. Hello, Charlie. Well, you're new here, so it's probably best I explain where everything is. In your office/preparation room, you'll find your cremation station, cremulator station, embalming station, and, obviously, since you're reading this email, your desk and computer area. I know you have experience working with these stations, but please let me know if you have any questions. Best, Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Also Sonic the Hedgehog's wife. Good luck, you beautiful and smart babe you. From Jen Love to Charlie on September 14th, 5:02 a.m. I guess my subject lines to you should start being more professional now that we are business professionals. I can't wait to get your reply so I can see your fancy new email signature. I love that you are able to land this gig straight after graduating. It sounds super cool. I didn't even know mom and pop funeral homes were a thing until now. Guess it's just not something I really think that much about. I should look more into this, learn more about your world and industry, because as I said, you are now a very serious professional. Speaking of being a professional, my museum gig is amazing. I can't believe somebody paid me to move to London, and not London, Ontario, serial killer capital of Canada, to work in a museum. Like, take that, everyone who said I couldn't get a job with an art history degree. I'll tell you more about it when we Skype. My stories require you to see my face, and that you hear my excellent British accent impersonation. Also, I signed you up for a funerals monthly newsletter. Consider it your graduation gift, /I love you, /am super proud of you gift. Love you, love you, love you. Jen L. Hurt, Museum Curator, London Pathology Museum. We have one from Amy Rose with today's tasks. So after I read this, I will respond. Today's tasks from Amy Rose to Charlie on September 14th, 10:06 a.m. Hello, Charlie. Hope you settled in okay so far. Matthew should have dropped off your first body for you to work on. He said you were really friendly, and he's glad to have someone young and lively to work with. You'll get used to his sense of humor. Your first body is Mrs. Garcia, an elderly woman who died suddenly of a heart attack. The family has asked for a closed casket funeral, so no embalming or body preparation is necessary. The family seems a little bit more united than previous families we dealt with. Strange how grief affects people differently. Perhaps having more time to say goodbye makes things a bit easier if that's possible. That being said, although you will not be embalming Mrs. Garcia, I do think it's important to take the time to clean her body. No one is going to see her body, but I like to encourage my funeral directors to do this out of respect for the deceased and their loved ones. You'll find Mrs. Garcia in the prep room. Talk soon. Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Regarding special request for my mother's funeral, from Amy Rose to Mia Garcia on September 13th, 3:22 p.m. Dear Mia, of course we will happily oblige your request for no embalming and for a closed casket. I'll ensure our funeral director receives your request. Take care, Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Special request for my mother's funeral. From Mia Garcia to Amy Rose, September 13th, 3:19 p.m. Dear Amy, we're happy to be with Rose and Daughters for my mother's funeral. We understand that there are usually procedures that must be followed in these situations, but if you could kindly not embalm my mother, that would be greatly appreciated. And we will proceed for with a closed casket for the service. I just know she wouldn't have wanted her death to have any negative impact on the environment. And since she fought so hard to beat her heart disease and to live healthily, it would be a shame to have her final moments to be counter to the way she lived. Thank you for anything you can do to help us in this matter. Best, Mia. Okay, so let's respond. Sure thing, I'll get right to it. Okay, let's actually read the last email that was there. Tips for good etiquette at a funeral. From Funerals Monthly to subscriber, September 14th, 8 a.m. Thanks for subscribing. Each month we bring you a new newsletter featuring a topic pertaining to the deaf industry. This month is all about good etiquette for attending a funeral. I really can't believe we have to write this one out, but since we said we'll answer your most popular questions, here we are. Because this is definitely one of the most popular questions. Funerals are a hard time, and we understand that. But here are some quick and easy rules to remember for being respectful at a funeral. Generally, following the guidelines of don't be a jerk should work. Number 1. Don't be on your cell phone. We understand you're busy, but this is a time and place to disengage. If you have to be on your cell phone, don't do so inside the funeral home. Number 2. Don't be loud and obnoxious. You can share happy stories, but other people are also grieving and working through their own healing process. Being quiet gives some other people space they might need. Number 3. Don't get drunk. Everyone can deal with their feelings in their own ways, just remember to be respectful when with the grieving family and friends. Number 4. Happily reminisce. Sometimes remembering happy moments and positive experiences with the deceased can be a productive part of the healing process. Number 5. Give condolences. It's not easy knowing what to say to someone, but even a simple, "I'm thinking of you," can go a long way. Number 6. Dress appropriately. What this looks like will change based on the customs of the deceased and their culture, but always dress in a way that shows respect to the deceased and their grieving family. Number 8. Give a gift or sign the registration book. This can be flowers or a nice card, but it's the thought that counts here. Sometimes this can even just cooking dinner for the grieving family. Anything that shows you care and want to help them through the healing process is what matters here. Be kind and be helpful. So this is the site of the funeral home. Let me read it quick. Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Amelia Rose, founder and director. About Rose and Daughters. Rose and Daughters Funeral Home was founded by my grandparents back in 1956. The Rose family has proudly served the area since then, providing personal, affordable funeral services for all. I'm proud to have carried on my family's business for the last 36 years, working with the best and brightest funeral directors and grief counselors in the area. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you've recently experienced a loss and would like us to help you through this hard time. Our services. Here at Rose and Daughters Funeral Home, we're committed to providing loved ones with the best and most affordable funeral services in the area. We offer a diverse range of personalized funeral service options to fit every need. Prices: burial with open casket ceremony and reception, $559.85. Burial with closed casket ceremony and reception, $42.75. Cremation with ceremony and reception, $1,700. Direct burial with no ceremony or reception, $19.05, all inclusive. Direct cremation with no ceremony or reception, $600, all inclusive. We also offer custom packages to suit every budget and need. Please do not hesitate to contact us with any questions. Amy at roseanddaughters.com. Right, so that's everything for now. Now let's see about this body. Okay, so this looks like the tutorial. This is the prep room where you will prepare bodies for burial and viewings. Because the family has requested a closed casket ceremony with no embalming, you are just going to clean the body. Click on the sponge and drag it over the body to clean it. Do-do-do. I know this is really terrible to say, but this kind of reminds me of all those Flash games with like pregnant Elsa and stuff. That's it, you're done. Mrs. Garcia will be sent to Mike, who will take care of dressing and putting her in the casket. It's time to go to Mrs. Garcia's funeral. You are responsible for taking care of the deceased body, but it's also important to pay your respects to their loved ones. Follow the arrow to head to the funeral parlor. So let's go fraternize. She would have hated these paintings. She was so particular. Yeah, at least she doesn't have to see them, I guess. That's... yeah, I guess. I hate wearing pantyhose. My legs are so itchy. But it's always so cold in these funeral homes. I think I might actually miss those sweaters she used to knit for me now. Mommy, I'm hungry. When can we go? Yeah, I heard the family specifically said no embalming. I thought it was mandatory, like required by law, but I guess not. Embalming weirds me out. Those chemicals leach into the ground. Seems strange to be using a chemical that is known to cause cancer and putting it into the ground like that. Or into the sewer. That's what they must do with the leftover formaldehyde, right? Just pour it down the drain. At least embalming guarantees you won't be burned alive. Hehe, stop it. Don't make me laugh right now. We usually don't small talk a lot of these things. At least that's what I was always taught. How's this doing? Pay respects. Okay, we're all done here. October 11th, 10:09 a.m. Alright. Cleaned her table. Let's check our emails. What's new? So it just gives you all the new ones at once. From Jennifer Valentine regarding, I am so frustrated right now. From Jennifer Valentine to Charlie on October 11th, 5:37 a.m. Okay, so let me explain this in a bit more detail. A colleague and I were discussing the tight lacer's liver specimen we have here at the museum. It's from a woman who died in 1907, and the liver is tapered inwards from what the doctor leading the autopsy believed was too tight lacing on her corset. It's fascinating because it's kind of a controversial topic. Tight lacing was super popular, and while people associated it with fainting or hysteria, sigh, it's actually been associated with visceroptosis, which is when the organs fall to the lower part of the abdomen, right? Which is super unsettling, but can also be caused by being pregnant. So, TLDR, corsets probably messed up some bones, but likely didn't do this kind of internal organ damage. And I'm tired of the condescension about my wardrobe that also implies I don't know what I'm doing. These are the kinds of things I specifically research, and yet I'm treated like I know nothing about. I'm having a day, Charlie. Jen L. Hurt. Museum Curator, London Pathology Museum. From Jennifer Valentine to Charlie, October 11th, 4:44 a.m. Can I just rant for just a second? I'm so tired of hearing strangers, colleagues, anybody, male colleagues, get on my case for wearing corsets. I wear them under my blazer and over a nice blouse, so it's not like I'm dressing inappropriately, even though dress codes are such sexist BS anyways. And I hate how their misogyny gets veiled in faux concern. Jen, I'm just worried you're damaging your body. You know what corsets do to livers, right? Corsets don't do anything to livers! They're definitely not hurting me as much as your condescension is hurting my head. Ugh, sorry, I'm out of sorts right now. I'll send you another email in a little bit when I've cooled off a bit. Jen L. Hurt, Museum Curator, London Pathology Museum. So, before the next job, let's check out these other things. From Forward, sincerely thank you. From Amy Rose to Charlie, October 11th, 11:23 a.m. Just passing this message along. Thanks for the hard work, Charlie. Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Sincerely thank you. From Mia Garcia to Amy Rose. October 11th, 10:56 a.m. Hi, Amy. Please pass along our deepest thanks to you and your staff for the wonderful job they did with our mother's funeral. It was really lovely. Our family so rarely gets together. It was nice seeing everyone come out for such a beautiful service. My son never gets to see his family. Also, it was incredibly kind of you to let us bring our own food in. Getting to share home-cooked meals, sharing stories, being there together, it meant a lot. So what I'm saying is, it was nice for everyone to be there like that, together in that way. And I know how much of that was due to the work of your staff, especially your funeral director. Thank you for making this difficult time easier for all of us. Best, Mia. That's nice. From Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie, A Story About Death, October 11th, 8:12 a.m. Hey there, Charlie. I was driving around the other day, taking our clients on their last trip around town, and I was thinking, strange, I know. Did I ever tell you the first time I went to a funeral? I was a teenager about to start university, and a friend of mine was killed in a car accident totally out of the blue. Really tragic stuff, messed me and my friends up real good. But so, the next day, we all got into our best suits and dresses and packed ourselves into a few cars. There were a lot of us, so we had at least 3 different cars full of us, like clown cars, While we're in the procession going to the cemetery, somebody in our car got a phone call from a friend in a different car. Turns out, some asset driver who doesn't know how to not get in the way of a procession drove through the intersection and smashed straight into our friend's car. Nobody was hurt, thank God, but can you imagine getting that call? Anyways, one of my friends in the same car as me, the one who got the phone call, hung up and started laughing. Just laughing her ass off in that way that makes you not sure if they're really just crying or if they're gone fully off the deep end. And she laughed, and then we all started giggling because, like, go figure, life is messed up sometimes, you know? There's no moral, no point to that story, I guess. I just remembered that story and wanted to tell you, because we work with death all the time, and I still sometimes get caught off guard by what that actually means. From Funerals Monthly: What to wear when you're attending a funeral from a different culture. To subscriber. On October 11th, 8 a.m. We all know everyone wants to be respectful at funerals. Don't talk too loudly, be kind, smile, and refrain from making inappropriate jokes. At least around the grieving family. Hey, sometimes some people do need a little bit of a pick-me-up during such hard times. Who are we to judge? And a big part of that is knowing what to wear. Roman Catholic funerals tend to lean more to the formal, black attire rule, and it works for us. Did you know this goes back to the days of the Roman Empire, where people would wear black as a symbol for mourning? Black isn't universally the symbol for mourning, though. And if you're attending a funeral that is from a culture that is not your own, it's important to understand this. Some colors have different meanings, and despite your best intentions, the wrong choice could mean accidental offense. For example, in Hinduism and in Chinese cultures, white is a typical color for funerals. For Islam, though, it is less about the color you are wearing and more about how modestly you are dressed. Refrain from wearing any elaborate jewelry, and be respectful of your behavior. For Sikh funerals, color of the clothing isn't as important as is dressing modestly and being able to appropriately sit cross-legged. Actually, being respectful is just the #1 rule for any funeral, no matter what, really. Remember that, and please don't hesitate to ask what is and isn't appropriate to wear. If you're attending to support a friend, family member, or partner, this day is not about you, so be sure to do whatever you can to be as respectful and supportive as possible. Even if that means not wearing what you're used to wearing at a funeral, or even if it just means asking how you can appropriately show your respects. Okay, let's get to that job email. Next job, from Amy Rose to Charlie, on October 11th, 10:14 a.m. Hi Charlie, here are the instructions for your next body. You did a remarkable job on the first one. The family was very happy with you. No small feat, of course. Pleasing a grieving family isn't exactly the most comfortable of jobs. Your next job is a man named Mr. Duval, an elderly man, died of old age. Nothing fancy, just a standard funeral with embalming. You can reach out to his daughter Lizzie Duval if you have any questions. She's handling her father's passing about as well as can be expected. As always, don't hesitate to ask me any questions. Best, Amy Rose, founder and director, Rose & Daughters Funeral Home. P.S. Charlie dear, please remember to wear proper embalming gear. Formaldehyde is extremely dangerous. I know I don't need to tell you, but my maternal instincts are hard to ignore. I promise I won't mother you too much. Well, just a little. Ask Matthew, he knows. Okay, and this is gonna be the same, right? Yeah, that's the same. Close that up. Oh wait, did I not respond? Yeah, I didn't respond. I'll get right on it. Okay. So... let's get started on that. Hello, dude. Traditional burials typically require embalming, which preserves the body and prevents it from decomposing as quickly. Unless the family requests otherwise, all traditional burials will use embalming. Let's start by cleaning the body. Click on the sponge and drag it over the body to clean it. Get you nice and clean, buddy. Great, now click on the razor and drag it over the body to shave it. There you go. In order to break rigor mortis, you'll have to massage the body. Click and drag over the body to massage it. The eyeballs deflate once the body starts decomposing. Click and drag an eye cap into each eye socket to give it shape. To keep the eyes shut, you'll need to glue them. Click and drag the glue onto each eye to shut it. The mouth sags and hollows once the body starts decomposing. Click and drag a cotton ball into the mouth to give it shape. To keep the mouth from opening, you'll need to suture it shut. Click and drag the needle and thread over the jaw to close it. Click and drag the lotion over the body to moisturize it. This prevents the skin from drying out. Come on, there we go. There we go. Embalming involves removing blood and replacing it with preserving chemicals. Click and drag the scalpel over the neck to make an incision. Going to need a tube for draining the blood. Click on the tube and drag it to the neck incision. Click on the cannula and drag it into the carotid artery. This is how you get the preserving chemicals into the bloodstream. Now you'll need to connect the embalming machine to the cannula. Grab some additional tubing and drag it to the cannula. Click the button on the embalming machine to turn it on. In order to evenly distribute the body chemicals, you'll have to massage them through the body. Click and drag over the body to massage it. Great, now let's sew up that incision. Click and drag the needle and thread over the incision to close it. Almost done. You'll need to drain the organs of any remaining fluids. Click on the trocar and then click and hold on the abdomen until all liquid has been drained. And you're done. Mike will take care of Mr. Duvall's makeup as well as dressing and putting him in his casket. It's time to attend the funeral. Came out of nowhere. I mean, it always sort of does, doesn't it? Yeah, 1 minute you're laughing, having fun, and then the next, poof, that person is gone. Just like gone. Yeah, it's weird to think about for too long, like staring at the sun. I start to feel all fuzzy when I think about it. So weird how our bodies just stop working like that. Yeah. So strange not seeing most people wearing white. White? Yeah, I think it's different for different family members. I can't remember. I haven't gone to many traditional funerals. So mostly white, but like definitely not red no matter what. He always wanted to take his grandkids to the park, play catch. He loved playing catch. If you're a mean curveball, that's for sure. Humming to himself. press F to pay her some respects. Okay, all done. December 2, 10:22 a.m. Clean that up. Let's see what we got on the menu for today. Okay. Let's read these before the job post. Forward, thank you. From Amy Rose to Rosendaughter staff, December 2, 9:22 a.m. Passing on this lovely thank you note. Thank you. From Lizzie Duval to Amy Rose, December 1st, 8:22 a.m. Hi, Amy. Thank you for the wonderful evening you and your staff put together for my father's funeral. He wasn't always an easy man to get along with, but I'm glad to have seen him off in such a kind way. Thank you, Lizzie. From Jen Love, meet cutes for deaf positive cuties. From Jen Love to Charlie, December 2, 5:01 a.m. Charlie, I was doing some reading. I know you hate when I try to give you dating advice, but hear me out. There's this dating site that's specifically for people working in the deaf industry. Okay, so maybe I'm a little worried for you. You haven't mentioned anybody new since the breakup of 2014 that we will never speak of again after this moment. But you're always saying how tired you get of people being scared to ask about your day, so maybe meeting somebody in the industry isn't the worst idea. Just promise me you'll consider it, okay? It's harder for me to make sure you're seeing sunlight when I'm all the way across the ocean. I know you look like a babe with pale skin and witchy gothy aesthetics are super hot right now, but vitamin D is still a good thing. Mom rant over. Going to try it out because turns out people get super scared off when you tell them you work in a museum filled with dead bodies. Do you know how not interesting other people find teratomas? Charlie, I didn't know we were this weird to outside people. I've been spoiled by having a best friend who is as much of a weirdo as I am. Miss you. Let's grab a bottle of wine for our next Skype date. P.S. If you sign up for Dead Meat, isn't that the best name for a deaf industry dating website? Tinder rules apply. You have to like me if you come across my profile or whatever. I'm not sure how it works just yet, though. Forward, paycheck coming late. Sorry. From Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie on December 2nd, 8:12 a.m. I don't like the look of this, not one bit. I know you've only been with us a few months, but maybe you're aware of the trouble Amy has been having. A small mom-and-pop shop like Rosendaughter's can't compete with the bigger guys. Anyway, don't tell Amy I sent this to you. Also, I'm starving, so I'm going to grab some fast food before taking the hearse through the car wash. 2 birds, 1 stone, and swinging back to the home. Do you want anything? Beef and cheddar? I'm going to take the hearse through the drive-thru, of course. It freaks people out. I love it. They get so awkward. Let me know. I'm heading out in 15 minutes. From Amy Rose to Matthew Jeffrey on December 2nd, 1:43 a.m. Hey Matthew, this is embarrassing, but it seems I miscalculated some of our income and I don't have enough to pay you this week. Would it be terribly inconvenient if I cut you a check for next week instead? If you need the money urgently, please let me know. I feel terrible about this whole thing, and I can cut you a check from my personal account if need be. I'm so sorry about this. I assure you it won't happen again. Take care. Okay, so this guy is getting paid late. We're having a little bit of business trouble, it seems. Can't really compete with the big guys. They're getting pushed out. From Funerals Monthly. LGBTQ funerals, respect. On December 2nd, 8 a.m. If you've been a long-time subscriber to our emails or follow us on social media, you've no doubt heard about the misgendering that transgender people are at times subjected to during their funerals. Oh yeah. There have been notable situations where trans women have had their wishes overruled by their families and have had their hair cut, are buried under the wrong names, and subjected to the wrong pronouns in their obituary announcements. We care a lot about this because we believe in treating every person with the same level of compassion, respect, and care. And this absolutely extends to pronouns and respecting the deceased's wishes as per their lived experiences. The CDC's Funeral Director's Handbook on Death Registration and Fetal Death Reporting offers the fraught directive. Enter male or female based on observation. Do not abbreviate or use other symbols. If sex cannot be determined, after verification with medical records, inspection of the body, or other sources, enter unknown. Do not leave this item blank. Leaving it up to observation obviously enters into a world of issues, since bodies can be so different. And because of ingrained bias, people can draw incorrect assumptions based on their own inaccurate observations. California has passed what is known as the Respect After Death Act, which states that the death certificate must reflect the deceased's gender identity as they lived it. So, a step in the right direction. People who are trans deserve the same respect in death that people who are cisgender receive. Misgendering in death takes away this respect. It can also inflict hurt and trauma on spouses and friends that survive the deceased. So, what can we do as funeral directors? Listen to the people who come into your office. In America especially, some marriages may not be recognized as legal depending on the laws around same-sex marriage. But this doesn't mean you're not dealing with two people who have loved each other in the same way as another couple. Listen, learn, and always be respectful. While you have to work with the next of kin, your duty is also to ensure the deceased receives the utmost respect in their burial. If a funeral is to honor the deceased, then do that. Honor them. Okay, now let's check out our job posting. From Amy Rose, cremation. On December 2nd, 10:01 a.m. Hello, Charlie. Today's funeral is for a woman who died of breast cancer. Nothing fancy, just a standard cremation. Please don't hesitate to ask me if you have any questions. Okay, I'm on it. Alright. Before we cremate Mrs. Hall, we'll need to prepare her body. Mrs. Hall's family brought clothing and jewelry for her to wear. It's important to remove these before the cremation process as to not damage them. Let's start by removing Mrs. Hall's necklace. Click and drag the necklace and place it on the purple tray. We will place the necklace in the urn with Mrs. Hall's remains later. We need to be able to identify Mrs. Hall's remains after she's been cremated. Click and drag the round identification tag and place it in the coffin. Great, Mrs. Hall is all set to be cremated now. Let's do it. And here we go. This is the cremulator. Contrary to popular belief, cremation doesn't turn bodies into ash so much as bone fragments. Using the cremulator, we'll break those bone fragments down into ash-like remains. Let's start by placing the urn in the cremulator. Click on the urn and drag it into the cremulator under the nozzle. Click and drag the bone fragments and drop them into the top of the cremulator. Now that all the bones have been processed, click and drag the urn back into the counter. Make sure to put Mrs. Hall's necklace back into the urn. Click the necklace, drag it to the urn. Don't forget the tag. Click on the round identification tag and drag it to the urn. Last step, click on the urn's lid, drag it on top of the urn. All done. Amy will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. Okay, so let's go and mingle. This is nice in a weird way. She'd like that we're all here talking. She always tried to keep the family together. The food is delicious. I know that's weird, but these crab cakes are perfect. She would have hated this music. She never wanted her funeral to be sad. She would have wanted us smiling. She said so. What if she was cremated and not in like an open casket or something? Seeing her like that, I don't know if I could have. At least we all got to say goodbye. She would have liked that. She fought really hard. She was proud of herself. She never gave up, not once. They are respects. They'll sit. February 14th, 10:14 a.m. Okay. Let's read the job post list. News about the future of Rose and Daughter's funeral home. From Amy Rose to Rose and Daughter's staff on February 14th, 10 a.m. Hi all. It is with a very heavy heart that I write to let you all know that Rose and Daughters will no longer be in business. I had no idea how to start this email, and resources I googled told me that would be the best and easiest way to break the ice. Be direct but remorseful, Google said. The truth is, I don't really know what to say. Since my father passed away, I've done my best to make Rose and Daughters warm and friendly to anyone who chose to use our services. It was my memorial to him, the original Rose in a lot of ways. And you've all become like family, including you, Charlie, our most recent addition. But it's been getting harder to make ends meet. Rent is going up in the neighborhood, and I'm finding less and less like I have the energy for this business. There's a lot of competition from other funeral homes, larger corporations than we are, that can take on more business and offer more impressive services. You know the way it goes. So, we've been bought, or I sold. Either way, soon, Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporated, a company that owns many funeral homes in the city and across the country, will replace Rose and Daughters starting from the beginning of next month. Same building, same name. They're keeping the name Rose and Daughters Funeral Home for tax purposes, though honestly, I'm trying hard not to see it as a move on their part to keep up the image that it's a family-run business. I don't know how I feel about that, but I also don't know if there's anything I can do at this point either. I've signed the papers. At least my father's legacy is still intact somewhat. They have a good reputation and have agreed to keep you all on. That was one of my stipulations. I would sell as long as you all weren't without a job. Sorry I didn't tell you in a more personal way. I would have loved to have a company lunch, but I admittedly didn't have the heart to tell you in person. This was easier for me. Please understand. Sincerely, Amy Rose. Forward, thank you so much. From Amy Rose to Charlie on February 14th, 10:03 a.m. Charlie, I thought you'd like to see this thank you note. Thank you so much. From Margarita Hall to Amy Rose on February 13th, 11:54 a.m. Hi, Amy. I am so eternally grateful that you were able to accommodate our request for my sister's funeral. It was a beautiful service, and she would have been happy with it. That's such a weird thing to say, isn't it? Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Sincerely, Margarita. Forward, I don't know what to do. From Amy Rose to Charlie on February 14th, 9:54 a.m. I thought I would forward this to you. In situations like this, we typically connect people like Ryan with a grief counselor or other professionals who can really help them. Sometimes we get emails like this when people don't know where else to turn. It's difficult, and family isn't always the most reliable for some people. Usually I would be happy to connect him, but I'm feeling a little tired today, not my usual self. And it would be good for you to start building these kinds of relationships on your own. You're a treasure, Charlie. I don't know what to do. From Ryan Garcia to Amy Rose, February 14th, 3:44 a.m. Hi Amy. I know this email might be a bit odd, but you said if I was ever having troubles I should reach out and you would know somebody I could talk to about all of this. I don't know what to do now. I know my grandmother had lived a full, good life and was very happy and that she's not in any pain now. But I feel empty. Amy, I've never felt this empty before. What am I supposed to do now? I thought I was stronger than this. Can you refer me to someone to talk to? I don't want to freak out my mom right now. She's dealing with enough, with work and the will and trying to just be the best mom she can. I just need someone to tell me that it'll be okay. Thank you, and I'm sorry for being an inconvenience, Ryan. A challenger approaches. From Jen Love to Charlie on February 14th, 5:27 a.m. Charlie, I've been playing a new game when things are slow at work. It's called Tales from the Crypt Sweeper. Get it? Get it? It's like Minesweeper, but way harder. Like seriously, it's really, really difficult. And I thought my Minesweeper game was on point after working that overnight front desk job at the hotel for 3 years, but I must have gotten rusty. Anyways, instead of mines, you want to avoid graves so you don't disturb the adorable ghosts. The main character also kinda looks like you. Want to start a healthy competition? High score gets to pick the restaurant we go to when one of us is in town next. Keep on protecting Earth with green burials. From Funerals Monthly to subscriber, February 14th, 8 a.m. You've lived your life mindful of the environment, doing your part to reduce pollution and generally help out where you can. So why not continue doing that, even in death? At least that's the thinking for a lot of people who are turning to green or natural burials. Natural cemeteries are becoming more popular and are focused on a few rules. Mainly, it's that the bodies aren't allowed to be embalmed with chemicals that can damage the environment, and bodies must be buried in a biodegradable shroud or casket. Not only is this better for the environment, it's also cheaper. At Union Cemetery in Ontario, Canada, a natural burial is just over $10,000. No, 1,000, sorry. So better for the people, the environment, just maybe not so good for big business. Let's not forget, people, this is still a business after all. But really, why go green? Green burials help preserve natural resources, work to reduce carbon emissions, protect the health of those repairing bodies, and restore and preserve natural habitats. Embalming fluids tend to contain formaldehyde, and funeral directors report a higher incidence of leukemia. Going green and not using toxic chemicals for embalming helps protect funeral directors while at the same time lessening the impact we have on the environment after we're gone. We here at Funerals Monthly think green burials are pretty cool. What do you think? Reply and let us know. Okay, let's see. Forward, cremation. Pacemaker? From Amy Rose to Charlie, February 14th, 9:49 a.m. Hi Charlie, please see the note below about the pacemaker. They can be tricky. Best Amy Rose. Cremation pacemaker from Mariana Reyes to Amy Rose on February 14th, 8 a.m. Hi Amy, you asked if there were any special instructions we wanted to pass along. Just please cremate my father. He has a pacemaker too. The doctor told me that would need to be removed. Thanks, Mariana. Okay, so we're going to do another cremation, but this time we need to remove a pacemaker. Mr. Reyes came directly from the hospital, so we don't have to worry about removing any valuables from him, as the family did not provide any for us to include. However, Mr. Reyes has a pacemaker that we'll need to remove before cremation. Because pacemakers are batteries, they will explode inside the hot heat of the cremation machine, and we definitely don't want that. Let's start by removing Mr. Reyes' pacemaker. We can drag the scalpel over the heart to make an incision. You can see the pacemaker. Click on the forceps to click and drag the pacemaker out of the heart. Put the forceps away, then place the round identification tag in the coffin. Mr. Reyes is all set to be cremated now. Alright, let's go. Using the cremulator, we'll break these bone fragments down into ash-like remains. Place the urn in the cremulator and put the bones up top. Put the urn back on the counter. Place the round identification tag in it. And put the urn's lid on top. All done. Amy will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. Did you ever end up cleaning the air with your father? No, we talked a few times, but no, not really. He sounded like a difficult man. He was stubborn, that's just it, stubborn. What do you want to do after this? It's pretty nice out. Let's change and go find a patio somewhere. Sounds good. I could really use a beer right now. Hey, did I ever tell you the time we tailgated? I wonder if he ever liked me. He was nice to me, but I don't know. He never seemed like he really cared if I was there or not. I always told him to quit smoking, but of course he never listened to me, so that figures. Pay our respects. All done. February 28th, 10:35 a.m. Forward, thank you. From Amy Rose to Charlie, February 28th, 10:11 a.m. Thought I'd pass this along to you. Thank you from Mariana Reyes to Amy Rose, February 28th, 10:11 a.m. Hi Amy, I just wanted to thank you for the service the other month, and apologize if I was abrupt. It was kind of a shock for me, and I didn't feel comfortable with the whole process. He wasn't supposed to die yet. It hasn't been easy. From Jen Love to Charlie, mushrooms, February 28th, 5:33 a.m. You hate mushrooms so much, I found the perfect thing for you. I've been thinking about death. I know, shocker, look what you've done to me. I think I want this mushroom suit. No, it's not called that, but I can't remember the name of it, and I'm writing you on my phone so I don't feel like Googling it right now. Anyways, the idea is that it's a biodegradable suit that the deceased wears. It's made of what people call a biomix, i.e. mushrooms and other microorganisms that help to decompose bodies, neutralize toxins in the body, and provide nutrients for the soil for plants. I think this one company even offers casket liners for use in green caskets. I think this is what I want. It'll be just like Hannibal. Wait, don't tell people I said that, okay? But seriously, it's pretty cool. I love all the deaf innovation happening. We might as well do something when we're in the ground, you know? Love you. Think about it and let me know your thoughts. I want all of your thoughts. If it's not this, then maybe I'll have my ashes made into jewelry. But seriously, I'm probably gonna do this. There's no harm in planning ahead, am I right? From Funerals Monthly. Things to avoid saying at a funeral. February 28th, 8 a.m. Welcome back. Now, we rarely do listicles here, but for this month's newsletter, we thought a listicle would be the best way to deliver this month's advice. What not to say at a funeral. We know figuring out the right thing to say to a grieving friend can be extremely difficult, and since that's such a personal issue, it's hard to give specific advice. Some things will be more comforting to other people, but fortunately we can deliver a little bit more solid advice on what to not say to someone who is grieving. So here it is, Funerals Monthly's top 5 things to not say at a funeral. 1. At least they're no longer suffering. Even if this is true, nobody wants to hear this, and it's probably not your place to dictate. Who wants to be told that the death of somebody they love is for the best? Like I said, even if it's true, don't be that jerk and just don't say it. 2. Were they saved? No religious statements, just don't. Why? Because not everyone agrees with your religious views, and not only is not always comforting, it can also be insulting. 3. They're with the angels now. See above's note, then rinse repeat. 4. Let me know how I can help. This one is tricky. You want to help, but those in mourning won't always ask for help. If you want to help, suggest specific things. For example, I'm free if you need someone to babysit the kids. Actions are better than passive statements. Cook something for them. Take them to their favorite restaurant or buy tickets to see a movie together. 5. I know how you feel. Even if you think you do, everyone grieves differently. Don't focus this on yourself. Empathy doesn't involve having to commiserate. Sometimes people want to hear your experiences, but don't assume they will. Ask first. For a quicker version of this list that can be applied in any situation, don't say stuff just for the sake of saying stuff. Just say, I'm sorry, if you don't know what else to say. Okay, and now our job. Forward, our son. From Amy Rose to Charlie. Charlie, I was hoping you wouldn't have to confront this situation, yet anyways, they're never easy. Rose and Daughters has been asked to prepare the body of a young man who took his own life. He had a will prepared and asked for cremation, but the family has demanded a traditional burial instead. Unfortunately, he didn't make anyone his power of attorney, or didn't have any witnesses sign his living will or his advance directive regarding these wishes. So his family is legally in the right to do whatever they want with his body. It's unfortunate, but we have to do as his family wishes. Matthew has graciously offered to take this on if you are uncomfortable with the subject. Instead, we have a second body you can prepare for a funeral we're hosting later in the afternoon. Charlie, is this suicide something you're comfortable dealing with? Let me know. I'm here if you need me. Amy Rose. Our son, from Manuel Scott to Amy Rose on February 27th, or 7 p.m. Good day, Miss Rose. Disregard our son's will as it concerns matters of his burial. He was clearly not thinking right and didn't know what he really wanted. Proceed with an open casket funeral. As for payment, we'll bring a check. Manuel Scott. We can do this or not. I am inclined not to want to do it because this is not the son's chosen way to go. But it's going to happen anyway, so I don't know. I'll let Matthew deal with this one, I guess. Okay. So let's sort this other body out. The deceased family has asked for an open casket funeral. Let's start by cleaning the body. Clean, 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 clean. Break rigor mortis by massaging the body. Insert eye caps and glue them shut. Cotton balls in and sew the mouth closed. Moisturize the body. There we go. Here, make an incision on the neck. Tubing in. Attach the cannula to the tubing. The embalming machine, and turn it on. Masagi. Masagi. Okay, now sew the incision closed. Use a trocar to drain these. All done. Mike will take care of Mrs. Rossi's makeup as well as dressing and putting her in the casket. All right. She's no longer suffering or in pain. Yeah. She's in a better place now. She was too good for this world. Okay. Thanks, Aunt Sandy. I haven't cried since she died. Not once. How is Anna crying and not me? I'm the one who lost a parent. Where is Maria? She couldn't be here. She didn't want to see her mom's body. I mean, I don't blame her. Anyway, I'm pretty impressed with the food. Did you try the amaretti? It doesn't look like her at all. Pay our respects. Head back in for another day. March 3rd, 10:45 a.m. Prepare. Welcome from Chad Grant to Rose and Daughter staff, March 3rd, 10 a.m. We are pleased to bring on Rose and Daughters as part of Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc. They will be another institution amongst hundreds of other properties owned across the country. But of course, as part of the adjustment process to the Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc. culture, there will be a number of changes that will come to Rose and Daughters. We will send out the memo regarding the specifics and details of these changes. We expect them to be followed impeccably. Glad to be the leading the way for Rose and Daughters from now on. Chad Grant, CEO and Managing Funeral Director, Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc., Rose and Daughters Division. I already dislike this guy. Seems like an asshole. From Matthew Jeffrey, what the hell, to Charlie, March 3rd, 10:43 a.m. Can I just say first off that this is bullcrap? Ugh, knowing how these corporations run, I wouldn't be surprised if they're monitoring our emails now. No, okay, I don't really believe that. I'm just upset. I get that Amy didn't have much of a choice. You can only fight a huge corporation taking all of your business for so long. This isn't 6 feet under. And they just swooped in, and now we have to deal with their BS practices. They're colder than the corpse I picked up from the morgue this morning. Who charges this much for funerals? Feels dirty and exploitative. Let's grab a drink after work. I need to blow off some steam, and emails aren't really the most appropriate place to do this. Too late for me, I guess. P.S. If you are reading this, Hillside Overlord, good. From Jen Love. You're invited to attend a Deaf Cafe. To Charlie, March 3rd, 5:21 a.m. Can't really write much right now. I have a lot of work I have to do with an inguinal hernia from 1750. It's the oldest in our collection, and you can even see this bit of paper the surgeon put in after removing the hernia. Super cool. I'll send you the link when we have it cataloged. What is my life? What is that sentence I just typed? But anyways, this event that I'm forwarding you is taking place near you. Figured you'd be into it. Might help with that feeling of restlessness you were talking about before. Could be good to talk about some of the things you're feeling. Lots of deaf positive people there. Sounds like it'll be a safe space. You're invited to attend a Deaf Cafe. From Deaf Cafe on March 2nd, 11 a.m. Come increase awareness of deaf with a view to helping people make the most of their finite lives. Join us, have a tea and cake, and talk to others about our thoughts, fears, and illuminations on deaf. The founder of the Deaf Cafe movement, John Underwood, once said, "When people talk about deaf and dying, it tends to illustrate their humanity." See everyone at the Upside Down Jar next Thursday. Deaf Cafe. Different funeral traditions. From Funerals Monthly. March 3rd, 8 a.m. Funeral rites, even in our own culture, maybe be something many of us may be unfamiliar with. For many people, all they know of funeral traditions are what they've seen in media. But, and I think this goes without saying, funeral rites and traditions aren't the same across the board. Different cultures have different protocols for cleaning the body to different aspects of the service itself. Religion provides different paths for dealing with death, but the goal is almost always the same: offering support, guidance, and ease to the people who are grieving. In Judaism, interment usually begins immediately after somebody has passed. Up until burial, the body is never supposed to be alone, so often families will appoint a shomer, a guardian, to remain with the body. Preparations for burial begin as soon as possible in Muslim traditions as well. Local Islamic community organizations are also often involved and help the family make arrangements for the funeral service and burial. But not all practices are strictly religiously focused. In the aughts in South Korea, the amount of graveyard space began to shrink drastically, causing a law to be passed that required families to remove a loved one's body from its burial place after 60 years. Many families began to cremate more often. But there are also companies that compress remains into beads in turquoise, pink, or black called deaf beads. This also occurs in North America, Europe, and Japan, but remains much more common in South Korea because of the space issue in graveyards and the expenses of cremation. And not all practices are somber either. Ever hear of the turning of the bones or Famadiana, a ritual by the Malagasy people of Madagascar? Famadiana has families return to an ancestral crypt, exhume the bodies wrapped in cloth before dancing with the bodies to lively music. This practice is a celebration, remembrance, and way of keeping the deceased involved in family news. Death can be a difficult time for many people, obviously, but that doesn't mean there isn't a beauty in the ways we choose to honor and celebrate our deceased. So here's our job. Forward cremation. From Chad Grant to Charlie. March 3rd, 10:14 a.m. Charlotte, below are the details for our next client. Ensure you follow the requested specifications exactly. After you are done, I will review your work in order to properly evaluate you at the end of the month. Chad Grant. Cremation. From Leah Ionesco to Chad Grant. March 3rd, 7:33 a.m. Thank you, Mr. Grant, for agreeing to take care of Jocelyn's cremation. The bike accident was, well, it was more than I was expecting. I know she wanted to be cremated, and to be honest, I don't think I could bear seeing her like that after what happened. Thank you, Leia. Quick, before I respond to this, I want to look at the news site. They changed it. Rose and Daughters, operated by Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc. Hillside Heritage. Rose and Daughters is the newest funeral home to join Hillside Heritage. proudly serving 56 different communities nationwide since 1964. Rose and Daughters features several available packages for burials and cremations, a spacious visitation suite for added comfort, and catering available on site. Rely on our dedicated and friendly staff to help you with your funeral needs, whether you need our immediate assistance for a loved one or would like to pre-plan your own final arrangements. Our services. We offer many packages fitted to suit every size of gathering and budget. Ask us about our selection of caskets, urns, and headstones, the largest in the country. Funeral packages. Bronze funeral package. An intimate gathering and memorial for your loved one, customized to fit your individual needs, best suited for groups of 25 to 50. Silver funeral package, a small but special celebration for your loved ones, best suited for groups of 50 to 100. Gold funeral package, give your loved one the best with the best we have to offer, a large gathering to celebrate your loved one, best suited for groups over 100. Jeebus. Subject to additional fees and taxes, payment plans available. Call us 24/7 for a quote. Man, that seems a hell of a lot scummier than what it was before, I'll tell you that. Okay, so let's get right on that cremation. Let's see. Prepare Miss Ionesco's body for cremation. Remove her watch and place it on the tray. Place a round identification tag in the coffin. All set to be cremated. Okay. Let's work on the bones. Break these bone fragments down into ash-like remains. This back on the counter, put the watch in, and put the tag in. Okay, let's go in and socialize. Should we do a vigil at the spot? Careless drivers, I swear to God. She was always so careful. Wore her helmet, signaled, used the bike lanes. Asshole drivers, they need to pay attention.
Have you heard what's happening to the driver?
No, I haven't wanted to ask Leah. This has been hard enough on them without asking about the legal ramifications of all this.
Yeah, after all this, let's see what we can do to help them. Shouldn't deal with the death of their partner all by themselves.
I have to go through all her things. How am I supposed to decide what to keep? If you need help, I can help. No, thanks. But no, I don't know. It's so intimate, feels like I should do it herself. She would kill me if others saw the things we have. Yeah, she was kind of a closed book, except to you. Yeah, she was special.
I'm glad I'm here, but wow, I just need a glass of wine and to binge watch something right now.
So glad it was a cremation. I would have lost it seeing her body.
Pay respects. And let's go.
March 24th, 10:30 a.m.
Perfect.
Forward. Rules and Code of Conduct. From Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie. March 24th, 10:10 a.m. Charlie, I need a drink. Beer after work. Yes, also, I really want mozzarella sticks. I can be both hungry and angry. And no, I will not say hangry, ever. Rules and Code of Conduct. From Chad Grant to Rose and Daughter's staff, March 24th, 10 a.m. Hello. As stated in a previous email, here are the new rules and code of conduct I expect you to follow from now on while in any premises belonging to Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc. First and foremost, there is a required uniform and strict dress code from now on. Second most importantly to this is that no tattoos are to be visible. If you have visible tattoos, ensure they are properly covered and hidden. When speaking with customers and clients, consider the opportunity to upsell, i.e. always encourage the deceased loved ones to purchase the higher quality package. We find that encouraging loved ones to think of the comfort and style of the deceased as an experience with no price limit on it. Additionally, food is no longer allowed to be brought in. Instead, encourage the deceased loved ones to purchase our premium sandwich and appetizer food package. Our partner Catering Concepts provides high-quality food that will be delivered weekly from their factory and can be easily defrosted the morning of the funeral. I expect all of the above changes to be instituted effective immediately to ensure a smooth transition into the high-quality services Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc. is known for. Jesus Christ, what an asshole. Just the worst. Green Burial Policy. From Chad Grant to Charlie, March 24th, 10:17 a.m. Hello, Charlotte. I have reviewed your request on behalf of a potential family inquiring if we at Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc. can and will perform green burials. I should have informed you of this in the beginning, but we do not perform green funerals as they are not cost effective. All employees and subsidiaries of Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc. must comply. We do not wish to lose potential customers, though, so do try your hardest to convince the families requesting green burials to instead choose a traditional burial package, complete with embalming, caskets, and vaults instead. I trust you will ensure we do not lose any customers, Charlotte. Ugh, this guy just keeps getting worse and worse. Dr. Zayas, from Jen Love to Charlie, March 24th, 4:58 a.m. I just saw a video of a gorilla walking on its hind legs. Like a human being, Charlie. A human being. We, as a species, have seen the beginning of our end. Home funerals. Why do it? From Funerals Monthly to subscriber on March 24th, 8 a.m. The appeal of a home funeral is apparent for many, especially if the deceased was someone very close to you. The idea of keeping them at home until they are ready to be buried or cremated can be comforting. It wasn't that long ago that we were taking care of our own deceased, but nowadays people are quick to pass off their loved ones to a funeral home. Most families aren't given the option and assume this is mandatory. Funeral homes will almost always prepare the deceased using embalming and other methods to make them appear more alive. But isn't this process counterintuitive to the grieving process? Being around the deceased allows the bereaved to spend a longer period of time with their loved one's body, which can help them mourn or give opportunities to the family members and friends to see the deceased one last time, before they are taken to be buried or cremated. The idea of keeping the deceased's body at home might sound gross, but it's important to understand that decomposition takes a long time, and you can further slow this process by keeping your home cool and dry. Be around your loved ones and to see them decay naturally is an important part of the grieving process. Home funerals aren't just more intimate, but they are economical. A traditional funeral, complete with body preparation, service, flowers, cards, and many other hidden costs and fees, can cost upwards of $7,000 to $10,000. When you're able to take care of your loved one yourself, to wash and dress them, and to organize their viewing from home, the only cost remaining is entirely in the cremation or burial itself. However, it's important to understand that different rules apply given on what state you live in. In all states, it's legal to have your loved one's body at home after they die. States like Alabama, Connecticut, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Nebraska, New Jersey, and New York require a funeral director's involvement, from signing the death certificate to overseeing burial or cremation. If this is a route you decide to go for yourself or for your loved ones, make sure you follow everything by the book. But just know that this may be an option available to you and your loved ones if you so choose. Now let's look at posting. Latest contract acquisition, the city. From Chad Grant to Charlie on March 24th, 10:29 a.m. Charlotte, I am proud to announce that Hillside Heritage Enterprises Inc. received a contract with the city to dispose of any unclaimed bodies. This is an important revenue stream for us, as I'm sure I don't need to explain to you, Charlotte. Although Hillside Heritage Enterprises Inc. is being paid a decent wage from the city for these services, cremation is preferred here as it is the more cost-efficient of the two options. The first unclaimed body we will be handling belongs to a middle-aged man, possibly homeless, whose body has yet to be claimed. No special preparations are needed for this cadaver aside from cremation. Okay, let's go for it. Alright, let's prepare the body. Doesn't seem to have any valuables on him that would be damaged during cremation, so let's just worry about putting his ID tag in the coffin with him. All set to be cremated. Oop. Alright. Let's sort this. Using a cremulator, we'll break these bone fragments down to the ash-like remains. Puts the bones in. Put the urn back. Put the ID tag in, and close it. This guy doesn't have anybody mourning him. That's really sad. I'll pay respects. I can do that much at least. April 9th, 10:19 a.m. Prepare. Latest contract acquisition, hospital. From Chad Grant to Rosendaughter's staff. On April 9th, 10 a.m. Hello all. We are thrilled to announce that Hillside Heritage Enterprises Inc.'s subsidiary Rosendaughters just signed a contract with Morning Valley Hospital, allowing us access to all of the cadavers that come through their pediatric and maternity wards. We're excited for the opportunity to work with Morning Valley Hospital, which intakes over 100,000 patients and receives over $15 million in funding and donations annually. This will no doubt be a boon for Hillside Heritage Enterprise Inc.'s bright and sustained future. I'm done. From Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie, April 9th, 10:32 a.m. Charlie, it's official. I put in my 2 weeks notice. You know how unhappy I am working for Mega Corporation 101. My skills, especially my driving ones, are useful in other professions. I am not worried about myself, but you I am worried about. You're too good for this corporate scum. You actually care about the people you work with and for. Don't let them defeat you, okay? Yes, I'll bring beers over next week. We can talk a bit more freely. I kissed her. From Jen Love to Charlie, April 9th, 4:59 a.m. Dating a special effects makeup artist, and she is like the coolest person I've ever met in my life. She totally loves Ava's possession and was equally freaked out by the possession scenes, but so utterly delighted at the idea of a support group for people who have been possessed. That was your best recommendation in a while, Charlie. You were slipping there. I was really getting worried you had lost your taste. But yeah, her name is Lily, and she's super deaf positive and isn't freaked out by my work, and also isn't too into it like that last dude I saw. Jason? Michael? Ugh, can't remember. I just really like spending time around her. I can talk about whatever I want, and it's never a conversation stopper. She also totally gets what I mean when I say that, like, working with death and spending so much time thinking about death actually makes me happier. It makes everything else feel so much more worth it, you know? Memento mori, or whatever they taught us in that one poetry class we took. We just clicked. Feels good. Fun and affirming, like dating should be. I'm thinking of taking her to Maple Meadows. She's super into roller coasters, and I think the idea of sharing cotton candy, or maybe not, I don't want to throw up on the rides, is sickeningly cute. Then maybe I'll kiss her on top of a Ferris wheel, be super corny and cliche for once in my life. Anywho, enough about me for now. I'm still kind of in shock from your last email. Do you think you're going to do it? You know you have my support 100% no matter what you decide. Water everywhere and not a drop to drink. Water cremation. From Funerals Monthly to subscriber, April 9th, 8 a.m. We can call it a few different things, like flameless cremation, bit of an oxymoron, but we'll let it slide. Or perhaps more commonly, resumation. Its technical name, though, is actually alkaline hydrolysis. Whatever we want to call it, it's here, and it's an environmentally friendly alternative to traditional cremation. But for the sake of this newsletter, let's call it water cremation. We all know that traditional cremation and burials take a huge toll on the environment. The high energy consumption that adds to the greenhouse gas effect being one of the chief amongst them. And water cremation is an alternative method available for the eco-conscious amongst. How does it work? It's basically a water-based chemical process that uses really strong alkali and water heated up very high, about 350 F. It basically works like a sped-up version of natural decomposition. The excess water gets put through the same water treatment process as any sewage water at a factory. And alkaline hydrolysis uses significantly less energy than traditional cremation processes. Neat, huh? It's been around for a bit, and in some places became legal around the end of the first decade of the aughts. Not a bad alternative for those who don't want their death to have any greater impact on the environment than necessary. Oh. Our character has been looking at the National Revenue Agency. Register your business, 11 permits. If you're interested in starting a funeral services business, you may need the following permits and licenses. Articles of Incorporation. The applicant must file Articles of Incorporation BCA Form 1 with Central Production and Verification Services Branch in order to incorporate. Registration of a business name for a corporation. To register a business name for a corporation under the Business Names Act, the applicant must complete a B&A Form 2 to receive a Master Business License. Registration of a sole proprietorship or a general partnership. The applicant must complete a B&A Form 1 with Central Production and Verification Services Branch to register a business name for a sole proprietorship/general partnership under the Business Names Act. Interesting. So it looks like Charlie is looking at the possibility of going out and striking on her own, leaving this corporate bullshit behind. Forward, home funeral for my wife. From Chad Grant to Charlie on April 9th, 10:14 a.m. Charlotte, I see you were not able to convince the Dimka family to take a standard funeral. I had to contact them myself in order to not lose this sale. Please read the enclosed emails for a lesson on how to properly upsell potential customers. I don't want to see that we've lost any customers because of your refusal to upsell. That is part of your job. Home funeral for my wife. From Coffee Dimka to Chad Grant. Dear Mr. Grant, okay, we'll take the traditional funeral package. Thank you for considering us in this hard time. Best, Coffee Dimka. From Chad Grant to Coffee Dimka. April 8th, 3:45 p.m. Dear Mr. Dimka, I understand your desire to keep your wife at home, but I assure you the best way to honor your wife is through a traditional funeral package instead. I promise you your wife's funeral with us will be a beautiful, intimate gathering. Excuse me. Where all of her beloved's friends and family can come together and say their goodbyes. A standard embalming will allow for everyone to view your wife, ensuring that everyone can see her one final time as she was. Beautiful, peaceful, and courageous. Letting us take care of the food with our prepared food service will ensure you don't have a single thing to worry about on this day. You and your daughters are going through a hard time right now. Let us here at Rose and Daughters make this difficult time a little easier for you. From Coffee Dimka to Chad Grant, April 8th, 12:59 p.m. Dear Mr. Grant, regarding the last time we spoke, my daughters and I would still prefer to host a home funeral ourselves and keep my wife here until she's ready to be buried. I just want to make sure she's taken care of. Her heart attack was so sudden, we don't know what to do. We just want to make sure she has a proper send-off. Thanks, Coffee Dimka. Sure, I'll get right to it. Okay. Let's prepare this. The deceased family has asked for an open casket funeral. So let's clean the body. Cleaning. Let's break rigor mortis by massaging the body. Insert the eye caps. Glue the eyes shut. Cotton balls on the mouth and sew it closed. Moisturize the body. Make an incision in the neck. Place some tubing in there. Attach the cannula. Connect to the embalming machine and turn it on. Massage. Masagi. Masug. Masagi. Masug. 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 Alright, now we sew the incision shut. Use a trocar to drain the organs. All done. Mike will take care of Mrs. Dimka's makeup, as well as dressing and putting her in the casket. Alright. So these people might be a little mad. They got roped into doing this. I'm starving. Why do these things always make me so hungry?
You're always hungry.
This feels so impersonal. She would have hated this.
Yeah, but I don't know. They must have had their reasons.
Oh, hey, what did you think of that trailer I sent you?
Oh yeah, I've heard that show is so good. I saw that video of that one kid actor doing karaoke.
It's so cold in here. I think they might have the air conditioning on too high.
Yeah, let's go for a walk later. It's really nice out. It would be good to stretch my legs.
Do you think we did the right thing? I feel bad not doing what Mom asked for. I know, honey, but what that Chad guy said seems right. We don't want to dishonor her memory by letting her rot. Yeah, I just want Mom to know I loved her. Wish I hadn't yelled at her before.
Sure, it's okay. She knew you loved her. Fights happen. Please don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to miss her.
Me too.
Pay our respects. Go back. August 30th, 9 a.m. Oh, hey. This is different. Let's see what's up here. From Amy Rose. Congratulations to Charlie. August 30th, 8:24 a.m. Charlie dear, I am so proud of you. I knew there was something special in you when I hired you for Rose and Daughters. If there's anything I can do for you, please do not hesitate to ask. I am always happy to help. Best wishes, Amy Rose. P.S. I sorely miss you and Matthew's terrible sense of humor. Let's look at our site quick. Magnolia Forest Funeral Home and Natural Burial Park. Our services. Magnolia Forest, named after the magnolia trees that surround the funeral home, specializes in at-home funerals and green burials in our natural burial park. Our goal is to empower families and encourage them to have a closer relationship with death in the dying process. The death of a loved one can be a confusing and sometimes traumatic time, and we want you to feel fully involved in your loved one's death care decisions. Whether you're looking to care for your loved one from the comfort of your home, be present during the cremation, or bury them in our natural cemetery, Magnolia Forest is here to work with you and provide these simple but intimate and meaningful options. Natural Burial Park. Our natural burial park allows the body to return to the earth and recycle naturally. It is intended as an environmentally sustainable alternative to existing funeral practices. Our park has room for bodies of all sizes and ages, as well as beloved pets. Families also have the option to bury their loved ones themselves if they so choose. Prices. We believe in being transparent about our prices and practices. We are happy to explain all of our prices, work within your budget, and hope to make you feel comfortable and confident in your decisions. Let us know if we can answer any of your questions. Home funeral, $1,000, all inclusive. Green burial and service, $22.50 for adults, all inclusive. Direct cremation, $600, all inclusive. Infants are buried at no charge. We can provide a free-by-free plot and help opening and closing the grave. It seems like a much nicer place than that corporate shithole. From Matthew Jeffrey. You'll never believe what new job I am working now. Open this email to find out. To Charlie, August 29th, 11:22 a.m. Hey, Charlie. When I first became a hearse driver, I was told that my most important job wasn't steering, it was sympathizing. I respectfully disagree, and thankfully I concentrated on my driving skills, since I'm now working as a, wait for it, bus driver. A school bus driver, Charlie, can you believe that? Pretty sure if I said the most important part of my job now wasn't steering, I'd be fired immediately. I didn't know how else to tell you. For some reason I was worried you'd think less of me, but I don't know why. You've never been the judgmental kind. And besides, corpses are way easier to deal with than children. Screaming children, might I add. I actually love it. These kids can be pretty cute, but don't tell Amy I told you that. She was always harping on me for not having any kids and for being all cynical about them. Congrats on your new business, Charlie. I'm proud of you. I'll swing by your new place someday and show you my new wheels. Maybe we can grab a bite to eat. Be seeing ya, Matthew J. Congratulations on your new business. From Jenlove to Charlie, August 29th, 4:30 a.m. Charlie, I am so happy for you. I know it's been a rough year for you. Seriously, I think our wine intake saw a bazillion% increase, but you stuck through it all like a champ. You deserve this. Finally being your own boss is a great move for you. No more having to explain anything you don't want to. I'm trying not to be too cheesy right now. Can't wait to be home next week for our visit and to check out your new space. Always Jen L. Hurt. Yes, have you heard about these green burial pods? When I find the link in my 1 million open tabs, I'll shoot it over to you. From Eileen Hansen to Charlie. Today, August 30th, 8:11 a.m. Dear Charlie, today's the day already, isn't it? I can't believe how quickly this has come up. Thank you for your understanding and for your work. You've made today easier already. See you at 1 p.m. Best, Eileen Hansen. I'll see you soon. Alright. This hurts. I thought it'd be easier, but it's not. It hurts so much. But thank you for helping me give her the funeral she always wanted. Anyway, I think we're ready to get started now. A Mortician's Tale. Let the credits roll here. Okay, that was pretty cute. It took about almost 2 hours, but that was mostly because I decided to narrate everything for you guys. Oh, hey, Tom Bump. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so that was the Mortician's Tale. It's a nice short game. It's about sort of deaf positivity and sort of dealing with the sort of things morticians deal with. Yeah, pretty nice. Okay, since that was kind of on the shorter side, I do streams this short sometimes, but I'm thinking that later tonight my time, like maybe 7 p.m. EST or so, I might stream some Dark Souls. So if you're interested in that, you can come back to the stream for that about that time. But for now, going to close it out and see you then. Goodbye. Let's see if there's anybody on actually. I can raid somebody. Possum Queen is on. Let's raid them. Wait a minute. Hold on. Might need to refresh my stream manager. Okay, it looks like it can't do that, so I guess nobody's on. Okay, so we'll just quit there. Thank you for watching.